Do you feel like you're struggling with something that you can't really talk about with other people? Maybe you're going through something now, or maybe in the past. Addiction, depression, body image issues, trauma, a whole range of mental health. Music can be an incredible tool to process complex emotions and experiences. Today, I'm speaking with someone who pushed publish on 2 songs so far that don't shy away from the darker side of things. Welcome to Zeitgeist Radio, where we learn about musical subcultures from people in the scene. I'm Morgan Rowe, and today I'm speaking with a singer-songwriter about poetry and healing through songwriting. If you love this, please be sure to subscribe. My guest today is Bree, a songwriter from Cameron, Missouri. Bree, welcome to Zeitgeist Radio.
Thank you.
I'm excited. We have like a really random connection, and it just kind of like happened in the last like week.
Yes.
Here we are talking, and I'm really excited that you said yes and that you are able to come be on my podcast. So this is an honor to talk with you.
Yeah,
and
why
I'm
not?
excited to get into some stuff with you. So
Absolutely.
let's start at the beginning. I'd love to hear from you. Who are you musically?
So I kind of come from, I would say, a variety of music taste in my background. I kind of grew up with a dad listening to rock, with Metallica. My mom, I grew up on listening to the Dixie Chicks and country and pop. And so I have a pretty wide taste. So I'm trying to kind of figure out, my sound when it comes to music, because sometimes I can't really pick a side that I want to be on.
You just like absorb it all.
Exactly. I kind of feel like I want to go like the indie pop route. But, I just love very basic acoustic as well, just some raw vocals and some instruments. But I would love to do that stuff live, obviously.
Do you play? So I've heard the music that you have out. Do you play ukulele? Is that what I'm hearing on there?
I don't. So I'm actually learning ukulele. I have my
Okay.
coworker's husband is all behind the mixing and producing and the instruments. He plays probably everything, piano, ukulele. I think Jesse's learning mandolin right now. Very cool people. And that's how I met him, through his wife. I work with her. So it's been really fun to kind of throw ideas back and forth and make my songs come to life.
That's so cool. So let's stop and before we go into the details on the songs,
Yeah.
what was a moment, the shift? I'm always curious. I love talking to people about this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a performer, and I sing and I play piano, and I feel like very happy in my performance space. It's a different mindset to actually write and create from like internally. And I've done a little bit of that, but um not as it doesn't call to me as much. So I'm always curious like where did you first get the idea like I think I want to create a song to write, and what was going in your mind when that happened?
Well, I actually feel like it kind of started at a younger age. For me, I'm kind of just now experimenting with actually doing something with it. But I would say I remember writing my first like actual song just for fun around the age of 14, when my grandpa passed away. And I never sang it for anyone except for my mom, and I made her cry a little bit. But I actually experimented with playing piano at that age, kind of just, learning off of YouTube. And I struggle with reading sheet music. I always have, I was a choir and band, and I just listen. I do by sound. So that's kind of how I taught myself to play piano a little bit. I didn't get super into it. I don't think I have the piano fingers. But I also wrote a lot of poetry in high school. My language teacher kind of pushed for that. I think she kind of saw that passion in me, and so she would kind of challenge me a little bit when it came to writing poetry. So some of these songs were inspired by some poems I had jotted down in my phone and kind of actually wrote them to be a song. So um, yeah, I kind of just get like an idea in my head, or it'll just start with like one thought or sentence, and I just kind of carry it from there.
That's awesome. Um, I could tell listening to your songs that there's some kind of poetry background because they really do. They feel like poems, and there's certain artists that I feel like Mumford and Sons. I feel like is very
Yeah.
poetry, like almost like that comes first. Does that come first and then you fill in the chords, or is it the other way around for you?
It kind of depends. I feel like with a couple of them, I actually haven't released them. It started as a poem, but right now, Mirror and June, I actually wrote last year, and that just started as songwriting. I swear I have like 30 unfinished songs in my notes in my phone that I'm trying to like finish, but I don't feel inspired to finish then unless I'm laying in bed at night just with my thoughts and it's like, oh my gosh, that would be a cool course. So then I get on my phone and I'm just doing that for a couple of hours. But um I don't know, it kind of just depends. I have some old poems that I've looked at that I'm like, okay, we could turn this into a song. And some of them I'm like, no, they have their place and I'm just gonna keep them there. um Obviously a lot of these songs are vulnerable and very raw. So I am nervous putting this stuff out there
That was going
because
to be a question, yeah.
yeah, just because, Cameron's a very small town. It's just north of Kansas City. But everyone knows everyone. So I feel like there's going to be some people listening to these songs that are going to be like, oh my gosh, I know her dad, and I didn't even know that was going on. So I I don't want to say that I'm embarrassed in a way, but it's just like, oh well, I'm ripping off that band-aid, and people are going to know, um, you know,
Yeah.
that stuff about me.
Well, let's dig into that a little bit. So you have two songs out currently as of the time we are recording. Um, can you kind of explain for people who haven't heard, and I'll put the links in the episode description here. Um, what is June and where did it come from and what does that feel like to write to bring that to life?
Yeah, so it's about my dad. Um, he was an opioid addict practically my whole life, and I never really noticed it until my teenage years. As we get older, we recognize patterns, and you start to not be so naive to what's going on. So it was a very hard time in my life. It was very hard to um, try and be a parent to your parent in a lot of ways. And so songwriting has been a huge outlet for me to get a lot of this, pent up emotion out of my system. I'm no longer in contact with him, and I am going to be releasing some more songs. A lot of these songs will be about my dad. I think once I kind of get past these, I'll start learning how to write about, the victories and happy moments in life. But as of right now, you'll be hearing lots about him. But June is really just a song that I hope resonates with, other children, or, even as adult children in life who have struggled with losing a parent to addiction, or having to make that choice to step away and not be involved with that parent anymore, because, that's a very hard decision to make, but it's a decision that I made for my well-being and my mental health. Um, and so it's been very nice to kind of jam to it in my car. Uh, it feels good, It's my own
Yeah.
emotions put to music, and it's just like if I'm feeling sad about those feelings, then I just jam to the song and I kind of get it out of my system and I go about my day.
Yeah. I've had a music therapist on the podcast
Okay,
and
yeah.
that was so interesting thinking of music as as healing, using music through trauma, and it's just such a powerful tool. Do you feel like that's what's happening here? Is your processing?
Yes, it is so funny you say that. I wanted to go to college to be a music therapist once upon a time, and
Yeah.
obviously I didn't go that route, but I did. I wanted to work. I actually wanted to work with cancer patients.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I think that's an incredible career, and I bet she's out there helping a lot of people. But yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's definitely what I use music for. Um, obviously I have those artists that are just fun and you can jam to them, and I love to dance, and so I have those people that I like to vibe with too. But a lot of the songs that I like to listen to were pretty, I would say probably sad, and very emotion packed, but I think that is like the best music that is out there is the one that's backed by emotion. Some of the best artists out there wrote their hearts out about their own personal experiences, and I feel like you get some of the best music that way.
Yeah, even some of the music that we think is happy, you look at the lyrics, you're like, this is really dark.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of why
Yeah.
I wanted June to be upbeat, because it is very dark and raw, and I didn't want it to be so dark and raw that it's like, ugh, I don't want to listen to this. This is sad. So I love the music that's actually kind of downer lyrics, but the beat is so fun, you can't resist it.
Where do you draw your inspiration on the musical side from? I think the poetry, it sounds like is coming internally, but as far as like there's a lot of styling that I recognize. You do a lot with your voice. Um, where does that come from, your inspiration that way and how you sing it?
So I'm very heavily inspired by Ash. I don't know if you're
Okay.
familiar with her. Um,
I feel like I should be. I probably know that name. I bet if I looked her up, it sounds so familiar, but I'm not thinking of her right now. It
she
sounds so familiar though.
Some mistakes get made. That's all right. That's okay. You can think that you're in love. Yeah, that song.
Yeah, yeah,
It's on
yeah,
the
yeah,
radio.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So she
Of
actually
course.
started on YouTube. I used to watch her do covers and write her own original songs and post them on YouTube. I feel like I found her maybe like right before, a year before COVID, or 2 years before COVID, maybe. Um, and she started putting out a lot of her own music, and then she got featured with One Direction guys, and she kind of just blew up. But her music is so groovy and fun, but if you listen, very dark. I mean, she writes about some very vulnerable moments in her life. And I also like Ariana Grande and Olivia Rodrigo's, and so I like the blend of pop, but again, still speaking from your heart. So I would say that those are my biggest inspirations. But I just like to keep it fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and your voice, I mean, it just sounds incredible.
Thank
Um,
you.
so let's talk about Mirror for a little bit. What can you tell me, like, where did that come from?
So, I am recovered with an eating disorder. So, Mirror is heavily about finding peace with yourself and loving yourself, and, you know, finding value and worth, and, really the way you look at yourself in the mirror and how you see yourself as a person in general. I mean, not just appearance, but on the inside and what matters. I think there was a time where I just didn't value myself completely, and I didn't treat myself well. And I did spend, almost a week in a psych hospital just to, uh, come back to life a little bit. So Mirror will probably always be one of my favorite songs, just because, I know there's a lot of men and women who can relate to, self-worth and loving yourself and loving your body. As we age, our bodies change and life happens and, babies or, health stuff, whatever. And it's so easy to be your worst critic and, be mean to yourself. And so Mirror is really just about trying to find that again and being kind to yourself and trying to be better and not staying stuck in those ways.
That's so powerful. And again, I'm just in awe. Like, what does it feel like to share such a vulnerable thing and put that on YouTube for anyone? You
Um,
know?
it
I
was,
wrote a song about like it wasn't even that deep, and I was like I shared it with a few people and
yeah.
that was it. To put something so personal and so like it's such a raw journey, and yes, like that affects so it can be so powerful. But what was that moment when you pushed publish?
Oh my gosh, I think I had a panic attack that night. Like my first panic attack in a long time. I wouldn't say like a full-blown one, but again, I am a very anxious person. Anxiety is something that I struggle with a lot. So uh I wanted to press delete so many times, but I have a very supportive family and friends. My coworkers, probably my best friend, and she like yells at me like a drill sergeant almost. She's like, "You have to do this, even with your podcast." She's like, "You're doing this. I mean, tell me what the day is so we can make sure you're mentally prepared." Um, but yeah, and Brian, my father-in-law is very, very passionate about me getting my music out there. So he's
Yeah, it
definitely
was
one
the
of my biggest
sweetest
fans.
call. Well, I'll share with you kind of how I found you. So I work with Brian, and he we're not we used to be the same role, and we shared some great times, and then now he's shifted to another role, so I don't talk to him as often. When he calls, I answer,
Right.
like I try to answer everybody, like I was like I think I was at the store, but I'm like, oh no, Brian's calling. I pick up, what's going on, Brian? He's like, okay, non-work question. I know you know music. And he starts telling me, he's like, Bree wrote this song. I just want you to listen to it. Okay. I just want you to listen to it. And I just want your honest feedback. He's like, I've got my thoughts. And, um, and he was just so like adamant that he was not giving me any feedback. He's like, I just want your real opinion. And then he sent me this link. And so then I listened and I was blown away. People will send me all kinds of projects, but like, it's really good.
Thank you.
And, um, And it was just, and then when you released June, he's like, "Did you see she did another one?" Like he's totally out there, like texting people.
Yeah. Even
Like,
today,
there's
he's like,
another one out.
when are you releasing more?
Yeah, yeah. Well, um, but so let's dig into the like technical aspect a little bit, if
Yeah.
that's okay. So, again, so you sing.
Mhm.
Um, these are like pretty produced.
Yes.
So can you talk about in order to have this polished of a sound, I know you mentioned your friend who plays the instruments and does a lot of that. Like, what is that collaborative process like? And how do you share ideas back and forth? Like, what's your process working with him?
So I'll record demos. I use Soundtrap. I'm not very familiar with, what's good software, what's not good software. So I just researched and, Soundtrack had good reviews and I have a mic that my husband got me for Christmas a couple of years ago. So I just record raw vocals. And usually I can hear like a melody in my mind when I'm writing these songs. So I'll usually be humming in the beginning of these, like the melody. That way he knows like the tempo and the sound of the song that I'm aiming
Sure.
for. Um, Now he will give me like a few ideas, like I think we should speed it up, or it would sound good slowed down. But with most of these that I sent him, like with Mirror, I would say like, I really like just basic acoustic guitar. Um, the beginning of the humming is, me humming. I mean, I just kind of hummed to the melody that I wanted the song to be. And I also kind of hear, like, oh, this would sound good as like a backup vocal sound, or I kind of want like whistling or something airy. So I kind of just give him these ideas, and he'll, send me back the song that he's come up with for it. And then I kind of just will go from there, and then I'll kind of pick that apart and we'll do some other things to it. But um, he went to school to be a composer here at MSU. Um, and I think he made like a backing track sound for a video game. But
Nice.
I will say he's kind of burnt out. I mean, my coworker Jesse kind of gate kept this information from me for a while, and I've been talking at work like I really want to find a composer, a pianist or someone I can collaborate with to put music to these songs. And randomly she's like, well, my husband is a burnt out composer. And I'm like, Jesse, why wouldn't you tell me this? So we hosted an event a couple of weeks ago at the spa that I work at, and Andrew came, and so we kind of talked in person and met and discussed some things. And that's how we met. We actually just met, I would say about a month ago.
Wow.
So we only have these two songs, so a lot of other stuff is in the works. But um, he is he's just a genius when it comes to sounds and like beats. I've been blown. I cried the first time he sent me Mirror.
Yeah, tell me about that. That must be amazing to hear something in your head and have an idea and then to hear it like in real life, like it's
Yeah.
real now.
No, I cried real tears. I mean, I played it for the very first time with my coworker Alexis and Jessie, his wife. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, he actually did it. He brought my song to life, and it was just crazy. I feel like it's just really nice hearing your voice like cleaned up a little bit in a studio too. It's just like, what? But yeah, it did. It brought me to tears, and it's been awesome hearing um just the stuff that I write and sing come to life. It just puts it on a whole new level for me.
Yeah. Does it make you want to write more?
Yes. I've been
It's kind of
having just like,
addictive, right?
yeah, random songs. I mean, I definitely have like probably 5 song ideas that I've kind of started this month. Um, well, I say this month, but October. Uh, and I'm just so excited to keep making more.
Yeah. Yeah, this podcast started in COVID as a way to connect with my musician friends because like
Yeah,
a lot of musicians, we jam or we perform, we play together, and there was none of that. So we were kind
yeah,
of craving connection. And then, you know, people listen and
yeah.
it's the most amazing feeling.
That is awesome.
Yeah, keep doing what you're doing, whatever, we
Yeah.
all have our inspiration. That's amazing.
My mom is a French horn player, and she's always poking jabs at me as a singer. What do you need all those words for? They just get in the way of the feeling of the music. But I think that there's two parts to this. First is the poetry. I absolutely love when language is used as intentionally as the music. But where I think the art is really taken to the next level is when the artist uses the music as an extension of the message of the poem. For example, I've sung how many masses or requiems. It's kind of the staples of choral music. And one time, I was at a funeral when they just spoke the words. It was so weird. The music is like a meditation on the words, and the same text can come across completely differently depending on what the music is doing. If you're enjoying this conversation, please take a moment to like Zeitgeist Radio on Facebook or Instagram, or if you're really loving it, you can sign up for my newsletter on my website at zeitgeistacademy.com/radio. I send out content about cool things I learn from my guests. Now, let's get back to Brie.
So, what is your hope here for your music? Specifically, what is your hope for Mirror in June? And then a little broader also, like for yourself, but like, what's your hope for Mirror in June? These are out now, they're in the world, they're real, they exist. What do you hope happens?
They find the people that need them. I think music is an escape for a lot of people. And if I can even just, help one person uh, not be alone with their feelings and their thoughts about, self-worth, or if they have a parent who struggles with addiction, I just hope these songs find them and heal them a little bit in a way, knowing that they're not the only ones out there, and just that the lyrics hit, and it's just like, wow, I'm not alone in this, and it's just a little bit of inspiration to keep going and keep living your life, and trying not to let that hold you back. As far as like broader terms, I don't know. I will say this has been a very nerve-wracking step for me.
Yeah.
I'm not isolated, but I just live life very simply, and I don't like to be in the spotlight a lot. I get pretty anxious, and I have performed in front of small crowds, larger crowds. I've done competitions, but I still, that stage fright, sometimes it's hard to shake off. So I think I would just like to be able to perform these, locally, at restaurants or cafes or breweries. I think that would be really fun. And just go from there and see where this journey takes me. I live just a normal life. I'm a mom and I work full time, and I'm a wife, and this would just be a fun thing if it would take off. And if it doesn't, I'm just gonna keep doing it, because why not? Some people will like my music, and I'll just keep making it.
Exactly. Yeah. Man, it doesn't take very many, does it?
Yeah.
Just a couple to keep you going, at least for me.
Yeah.
A couple things that have came to mind to me while you were talking. First of all, um, I had a guest on who was of all things, a contra dance caller. I don't know if you know what contra dance
Okay.
is, but I've had
No.
a couple different. It's like like a swing dance, like an
Okay.
American folk dance thing.
Yeah.
And the caller's the person that stands at the top tells you the moves.
Okay.
And she was on a while back, Lindsay Dono, and I was like, "How the heck do you get into this?" And she was like, "Well, I was terrified, and I did it anyway." And I
Right.
feel like that's kind of, what happened. I feel like that's how a lot of people get going down. Like, it was life-changing for her. She's now like
Mhm.
nationally known. She travels all over the country
Wow.
calling like major dance weekends. Everyone knows Lindsay Dono,
Yeah.
but it wasn't always that. It was half a night, and like she was terrified and she did it anyway. She said that multiple times in the episode. Like, every next step, I was terrified and I did it anyway. So, I think you're really brave doing
Thank you.
pushing publish, and just writing these and sharing them with the world. And just, I don't know, that came to mind as like
Yeah.
something that I think is very common.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's a good motto to
yeah,
live by, for sure.
just-
If it scares
yeah,
you, just do it. We live
just
one
do
life.
it.
Yeah. You never
Yeah,
know what
yep.
you may regret when we're 80. So,
And have a good therapist for your anxiety.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, okay, so set the scene for me. So you've got these two songs, you've got 50 more in your sleeve. What are you doing now that you've had some good feedback on the two that you have? What's your process? What do you think your process is going to be for like choosing what topic you cover next? Are you going to stick with the same kind of themes? Are you going to try to do a different kind of a thing? What's kind of pulling you right now?
I think I'm sticking with the same theme. We have a song, it's called Satire. It's about my dad, but I'm pulling all of these qualities from me. For instance, like, the fire in my belly and, just my attitude and stuff. And then I kind of flip it and I talk about how I actually get all of that from my mom. And so it's gonna be like a fun kind of attitude-y jab at my dad. Respectfully, not respectfully in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the man put me through a lot, and I think that's where I get my quick wit, my good sense of humor, because I kind of learned to just um be comical during uncomfortable times. And so I kind of just wanted to play off of that. And, I get all of these things, and it would be nice if you could sit there and say that I get them from you, but I don't. So it's really just kind of
Mhm.
highlighting my mom. And, my mom has been there for me through everything. Um, I could totally cry just thinking about her, but there's never been a time where she wasn't there for me. And so, I'm sure she'll be in a lot of songs too, but happy songs. But she's one of the strongest women that I know. And I don't think I would probably be here, today if it wasn't for her. And she has always, always pushed my singing journey. Um, she's always supported I used to do YouTube videos. I think I erased them from the public. I was very young. I think I was like 11-year-old shouldn't have access to YouTube.
Wow,
It was a
yeah.
different time. Um, but yeah, she's always just been a huge supporter. I did 1 year in college. I didn't, finish college, but I did they had a mock voice competition on campus. So they had the four judges and they would turn around if they wanted you. And I wasn't going to do it, but I decided last minute, like, I'm going to do this. So I was the very last person to go. I had no music prepared, and I sang House of the Rising Sun by the Animals completely a cappella. And
Oh my goodness.
the head of the music department only had one slot left, and he turned for me. So he was my judge, and he was so awesome to work with. Really cool dude, and I ended up winning the competition with him. And
That's
so for
amazing.
the finale song, we sang House of the Rising Sun together. He played acoustic guitar, and it was so awesome. It made me imagine like what it would be like to sing with my grandpa had he still been here. Because music on my grandpa's side kind of runs in the family. I think he was in a band, like a folky band back in the like 60s or 70s. So um, it was a very cool experience. And then I also remember, I think it was probably my freshman year of high school. My mom let me skip school to go try out to be on the X Factor in Kansas City.
Nice.
And, you know, obviously a part of me wanted that so bad, but I knew my voice was very immature at the time, and I think I chose an Adele song, and Adele was just everyone was singing Adele, so that wasn't gonna set me apart from anything. But it was a very cool experience, and it was a cool thing to do with her, and I'm very grateful for her always kind of supporting this side of me. A lot of people, when you're like trying to be a singer or just putting your hobbies or creative side out there, it's easy for people to, laugh at you or just, be like that you're not going to go anywhere with that. You may as well give up. So, I've kind of heard a lot of that in my life. So I feel like that gives me more drive to just want to be better and keep doing it. And, even if I don't go anywhere, I can say that I did it and I followed my heart and I chased a little bit of my dreams.
Yeah. You were scared and you did it anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think about that quote all the time. Like it's when it was a guest a long time ago, but like it's just it's powerful. And I
Yeah.
love that you're casually dropping like, yeah, I won this singing competition and then I was on X Factor and like, oh, okay.
Okay, I wasn't on X Factor. I only sang
But
for
you went to the
one. I did.
thing.
I
Yeah.
did. A
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
different process than I expected as well. I think a lot of
Yeah,
people
they
are
kind
just
of
like,
rig it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting. I mean, I was only 14, but it's
Yeah.
not like you just go up and audition and you're on the show. You have to
Yeah,
get through
they
like
kind of
five
mislead.
people.
That's what, yeah, exactly. That's how it comes across. But like
Hmm.
there's a whole, yeah, it's not everybody gets on. And even if you do get on, I don't think you're guaranteed to get shown.
Right. And
Yeah.
it was so bizarre. I remember it was in the Sprint Center in Kansas City, which is just like this massive arena. And it was just like they had little cubicles in the arena and you could hear like everyone auditioning. I mean, you could hear everyone singing. It was so hard to be focused. I mean, I felt like I was in like
Whoa.
a little weird dressing room. And he was like, okay, you have, 2 minutes. What's your song? Who's your artist? And go. And it's just like, okay. I can totally hear this girl over here belting it
Wow.
out. But yeah, let me try to focus real quick.
Yeah, really. I've actually that's so interesting. I always kind of wondered like they must have just lines for days, but
Yeah.
that kind of makes sense because there's so many people.
Yeah.
They'd have to have some way of filtering them out. That's bizarre. I never, yeah,
Yeah, there was a lot
I've
going
never
on
been
there.
on the X Factor. Never
there was
gone.
there was a lot. And I know it was like if you get through that producer, you go to like maybe a higher up producer. And if you get through that one, you go to one more. And then there's callbacks. And it's just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
whoa, this seems impossible to actually like succeed and get to
To get
the real
to the
deal.
show
Yeah.
where you will also probably, likely be eliminated.
Right. So it's just like, how do people do it? I actually I gotta hand it to people who try out for like The Voice and stuff. I mean, I've heard of people trying out like this is my fifth year in a row, and like they finally make it to the live
Wow.
auditions, but it's just like that would be so hard, to be told no so many times.
Yeah.
But I feel like that gives you more motive anyways to just,
Yeah. I mean, maybe it gets easier the more times you're told no, because then you expect the no.
exactly.
You
Yeah.
know?
You're like
Then you're
truly
then you're
shocked.
relaxed. Yeah. 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 Well, the other thing I was thinking of while you were talking was I remember an interview with Nora Jones back when Don't Know Why came out.
Yeah.
And so that was a little while ago. I was in high school, so what, like 2005? Anyway, she won all these awards, which was cool, but I just remember her like her face when she was like except she was like walking out of whatever event and all the
Yeah.
paparazzi is like crazy and she was holding all these awards and she just had this she's like I just like to be in the studio
Yeah.
and I like to sing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Some of the best music I think comes from like I know you said like oh I'm small town I'm simple but like that's where the best because you're grounded and you know
Yeah.
yourself and you can be vulnerable and raw and you don't have to put on a face
Exactly.
because people see through a face people know but the types of lyrics that you're coming up with can only really be and I encourage everyone please go listen to her songs they can really only be experienced,
Yeah.
right? So while I'm so sorry that you had to go through all that, on the other hand, look what you've given the world, and I think that's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Um, so I have one last question. We were talking a little bit earlier, so this is Zeitgeist Radio. Zeitgeist is spirit of the times. Um, And a zeitgeist moment would be a moment where you're plugging into the spirit of the times. It could be something that's happening right now. It could be a music. I mean, musical podcast, right? So musical. Um, when was the last time that you were playing either a memorable or a recent moment when you were either making music or listening to music or somehow interacting with it and you just plugged in and felt like you were in just kind of a higher level? And I'll share one of mine with you and while you're thinking about it. Um, Again, just thinking about like poetry and music. Um, I remember Mumford and Sons. I mentioned them earlier. There was a time when I was like completely like just enamored with them. And it was, a lot of their like banjo stuff, upbeat
Yeah.
music, right? But then you start to listen to the words and it's you kind of have to decipher them. It's
Yeah.
poetry, but it's also like seems to be like backed by like lore and like these are references. Is this a biblical reference? What is happening? It makes you
Yes.
think if you're listening to it. And I remember just going, it was my ex at the time, but we were driving to Seattle from Portland, Oregon, and it was a 3 hour drive. And the whole time we were just like dissecting the poetry of this one song
Yeah.
and trying to like figure out like, what does this mean? To the world? What does it mean personally? What does it mean? I think that, and then I'll share another one because my I guess my overall zeitgeist moment here is just the power of poetry in music. Third Eye Blind, like I listened to them as a kid. I was again enamored when I was 13 years old. Do 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 do. You don't
Yeah.
think about it, and then you go back and you listen as an adult, and you're like, "Whoa, this is heavy."
Yeah.
N- And so I had a moment again, like going maybe about 5 years ago. He had like this little renaissance. Maybe it was 7 years ago because COVID time is weird.
Right.
He had this little comeback and I was like, oh yeah. And I went back and I listened to some of those songs and hearing it and hearing the poetry as an adult and realize he's talking about drugs and abortion and like some
Mhm.
really heavy topics that you don't like. This was on the radio.
Yeah.
13-year-olds bopping along
Right.
and anyway, just that like that moment of diving deep into the text of something. I am also a singer, and so to me, text is so important. And both of those were just really powerful moments for me, like introspective moments. I feel like through poetry, for me, I learn more about myself through the process of
Yeah.
kind of reading a poem and analyzing a poem and thinking. I love hearing words crafted. It's pleasing because it takes time and we're also busy running around. Like when do you have
Mhm.
time to craft words to really pack a punch? Um, and I really feel like that's what you have been doing.
Yeah.
So
uh,
again, just way kudos on your two projects. But I would love to hear
thank
from
you.
you. Um, what is a moment, either a recent moment or a particularly memorable when you just like plugged into something bigger than yourself with music?
Let's say, man, I would like two different routes with this.
Yeah.
One memory that I was just like completely zoned in um, was when so after I did the voice competition at Missouri Western, a pianist that was accompanying my competitor reached out to me afterwards wanting to work together. He was doing local gigs. And so, I accepted because why wouldn't you? And we performed at this retirement party on New Year's. And it was actually a much way older crowd. These were like people my grandparents' age. Uh, but, I got a glass of wine to kind of help calm my nerves. And our set list was like Creep by Radiohead, but, very toned down. But we also sang uh, Billie Holiday,
Mm.
I'll Be Seeing You. And I just kind of, I don't know. I feel like I blacked out a little bit, but I
Yeah.
absolutely love her music. Also love Creep with Radiohead. And so I felt those songs so hard that night. And it was like I started singing and then all of a sudden it was over. Um, but yeah, that was definitely a time I felt very connected. It was, everyone was eating dinner, so it was just very quiet. And, the piano was absolutely beautiful. I love piano music, so kudos to you. I wish I could play. It's such a beautiful instrument, and it was a very raw and real performance. There was nothing else going on but my voice and piano, and
Mhm.
that's my favorite, just like a simple instrument and singing and silence, It's annoying when people are talking, but people are gonna talk and not pay attention to you at all, and you just have to keep going. But um, it was a nice moment because I think older generations can not be on their phones or talking and interrupting and just appreciate the time for what it is. And that's just completely what happened. I mean, everyone stopped talking and they were just listening to the song. I think they were maybe a little shocked that we were playing a Billie Holiday song because we were both in our very early 20s.
Yeah.
But it was just a really nice time. And then another time I would say my early childhood, when I was kind of struggling with difficulties with my relationship with my dad, Demi Lovato was such a huge,
Mm.
huge inspiration to me. And she still is to this day, but her music just touched me in a way that not a lot of other artists have. And I would say that still fits for me, but her songs, if you've listened to the lyrics of her very early, like 2000s, when she was a young teenager herself, her father she dealt with abuse from him, and he was an alcoholic. And I think that's just why I resonated with her music so much, because she was a troubled teen and dealt with her relationship with her dad. And she also dealt with body image issues. And, she's been open about her eating disorder. And I just connected with her on a level that I feel like I don't connect with, and I've never even met her. But it's
Yeah.
just, I would say her type of storytelling and the way she writes her songs is definitely. She's also a big artist that I get inspiration from, and I hope my songs tell a story. That's what I'm going for. I hope it's kind of easy to follow, but also I like to have some mystery. I don't want everyone to know everything right
Mhm.
off the bat too. So it's just like, oh, she said, locked away for 6 days. Like, what does that mean? And so, I'm willing to share slowly as I get into this process, but I'm putting a lot into my songs too, and it's just like I didn't think about that until like after I released it, and I think that's why I got so much anxiety because it's like, wait a minute, what did I just do? It's like my family's gonna hear this. My family knows everything I've been through. My close friends that I haven't talked to from high school and like a decade will hear this, and if they were truly my friend, then this all isn't very much news to them. I had a couple of best friends um, in that time, and so if they hear this song, both songs, then they'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But as far as like my peers from school and people that I'm associated with, and people we follow on Instagram and stuff, it's like, oh, do I want them to know this about me? And are they gonna randomly hit me up and be like, I had no idea? And it's just like, I don't want to not talk to them about it, but it's also like, well, I put it out there to the public, so I have to
Yeah.
prepare myself mentally for these things.
Yeah. And I mean, again, it's on YouTube, so
Yeah,
ultimately they may hear it and they're a small circle, and then maybe some teenage girl will hear it,
yeah,
and that's just what she needs at the
yeah.
time. you never know, and it's out there. It's out there for everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm most excited about. I hope it finds the right people and it's just something that they can put on when they're feeling sad, or if they just feel like they need you know, to not feel like they're the only ones dealing with this. Because this parent addiction and body image, self-worth, that's something that I know a lot of people struggle with, whether they
Yeah.
talk about it
So many.
openly or not. Those things don't make me special in any way. I wanted to write about it to get it out there, to hopefully have it resonate with people, and you know it'll find the people that need it.
Yes, yes, it will. I believe firmly it will. Well, Bree, thank you so much for coming on my podcast. I so appreciate your vulnerability. Please keep writing.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Zeitgeist Radio, and thanks so much to Bree for joining me. All of her links, including to Mirror and June, are in the episode description, so please check them out and give her a follow. Please follow me too at Zeitgeist Academy on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And please don't hesitate to reach out with a Zeitgeist moment of your own. I always love to hear from fellow music lovers. Thanks for listening.